everybody's situation is different. You know, we just want you to get started. If home ownership is your goal, then let's just at least get your credit where it needs to go. Also too, I mean, there's so many other programs and incentives and things out there. So, you know, for you as an agent, when you can really provide everything, at least if it's tied to a score, they can only utilize this down payment assistance or something, then they're gonna have the score they need.
Hi everybody, my name is Abba Silfi and I'm here with Khalese Seidu today. She is a credit consultant and specialist with D.R. Horton, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she does and how she helps people into home ownership and kind of just breaking down some of the misconceptions people have when it comes to credit and getting a new build. So talk to us a little bit about what you do and how you help people in this program.
So I know the last time I saw you, I was on the builder side. I was in the sales position. One of the tools we have is our Home Buyers Club. And so they're connected to our lender DHI. It's a program in essence where we're giving someone a strategic plan, a timeline with how much to get their scores increased.
Okay. So how do people join this Home Buyer Club? What do you have to do to be a part of it?
So usually they're most likely either connected to their agent, going to a model and learning about it. But nonetheless, they're going to start with filling out an application with DHI. From there, our loan officer is going to review the report, and then they will refer them to me. Okay, so
DHI is the in-house lending that you guys have with D.R. Horton. So when they apply with you guys, like because they're coming to look at this new build, they want to know where their credit is at. This program will help them, if they're not where they need to be, get to where they're trying to go, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I love that team effort, right? So my job is just to solely focus on the credit. So having a loan officer being able to identify, you know, this also might help the debt to income or other qualifying factors. It's kind of like a full review and scope. You know, to your point, to say, okay, like for their loan, we really want to see a 640. And so then that's what I'm going off of to make like their target goal for them.
Okay. And then how do you hold people accountable in this program to making sure like they are getting to where they need to be?
Just being very transparent, you know. Because in our program you can build your home while we're working on your credit. A lot of the time, I mean, that's that's the shiny object. That's the thing that people really want. So it's easier to be like, you know, this is your home, right? And so we really need to do this to get there. But the ones that aren't in contract, sometimes you just have to reel them in a little bit. You got to say, hey, like I haven't seen a lot of movement, or you know, like you're so close, or and so, you know, or maybe if we even just see a little uptick in the score, just try to, you know, have that. But ultimately, them doing the work and you know, completing their items is going to help them get to where they want to go.
Cool. And you were saying people don't necessarily, like, they can join the program and they can go through it, but they don't necessarily have to buy with D.R. Horton. I mean, we want them to, obviously, but it's not an obligation.
And I will say that's something that I do love. Mind you, of course, right? You know, we want you to get into one of our new D.R. Horton homes, but everybody's situation is different. You know, we just want you to get started. If home ownership is your goal, then let's just at least get your credit where it needs to go. Also too, I mean, there's so many other programs and incentives and things out there. So, you know, for you as an agent, when you can really provide everything, at least if it's tied to a score, they can only utilize this down payment assistance or something, then they're going to have the score they need.
I think that's really nice too, because a lot of times when we connect with lenders, I have some great lenders that will do, you know, some of that help, but they're not credit people. They're like, hey, this is where you're at. You do need some work. And then like, you know, here's what you can do. But then it's like, I'll touch base with you in like maybe 3, 4, 6 months, something like that. So I like the idea of this because it sounds like you guys are like walking alongside them and doing those check-ins. And like you're saying like, hey, you know, you say you're going to do this, but
it's full time. So it's the accountability, the being a cheerleader, the every 2 weeks and letting them know, like, I'm going to complete a soft pull. So, you know, we're going to see where you're at.
So each month you guys do a soft pull to basically to see that progress. Okay, so that's good to know.
And two, because of how the program can work depending on everyone's situation, I mean, if we need to rush something, I mean, we can also help in submitting documents to kind of expedite getting that score to trigger faster. We only have 30 days, which is really nice. But usually, yes, it's like a 2-week check-in, update, take notes, and then it's a 1-month soft pull to see how everything is looking. I feel like obviously that's nice because it's not going to continue to like hinder or negatively impact their credit, but also it's a way to really see like where their mortgage score is. So this also helps eliminate any surprises before you're getting to that closing table.
Yes, that is really
nice. We've heard some things.
Been there. Yeah, so that's really nice. So they can join this club, be a part of it. Yeah. You guys basically walk alongside them through it. You want them to buy with D.R. Horton, but that's not necessarily the case always. Yeah. And then you said they can be in this for like up to 12 months.
Yes.
Okay, and does it cost anything for them to be a part of it?
Yes, so they pay a one-time fee of $39.
Okay.
Once we kind of go over like the scope of the program, the processor will reach out and say, here's some enrollment forms that you're going to electronically sign, and then you need to take an online course. That's where you're paying the $39, and then nothing else.
Okay, that's actually really good because I know people pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for like credit repair. So this is something to actually really consider and reach out to her about and just see like, hey, how can you help me? Like, I really need help. I don't have hundreds of dollars. That hundreds of dollars that you're spending could be going towards paying off whatever
the debts and everything. And I think too, that's kind of the thought, right? Like when you hear credit, not only is it vulnerable, but some people really think like this is going to be too much.
Yeah.
I have maybe a lot of collections or a lot of charge-offs, and that's why I like to be very strategic and let people know, like, because we're using something, it's going to tell us exactly what you should be paying. Not paying every collection is always a good thing.
Yes, it's very strategic. Okay, very cool. Yeah. And then what I wanted to ask you is, going through this process as a credit specialist the past year or so, what is a common misconception you hear, or something that's actually you have learned that has surprised you when it comes to this credit thing and being like mortgage ready?
I honestly think just on the baseline, the mortgage score versus personal score, I think sometimes you come in contact with people who are just surprised, kind of like, why am I here? Because Credit Karma said I was at a 682, I'm good to go. Like, I have no business. Like, and you had to really like, there's a difference. Yeah. And maybe, that is a different algorithm that's pulling in things that they're looking at if you were to like apply for a credit card or, get a car. You buying a house, I mean, it's
a big deal.
Yeah, it's the biggest deal. And I think they pull in that information and they're obviously reviewing it to like the highest level. Yeah. But a lot of the time I get a lot of that, like, I don't understand like the 50-point difference or those things. And you just have to, say like, it's just going to be different.
Okay. So the mortgage score and the score that people see on like Credit Karma or other credit apps are not the same.
It's not.
Okay.
No.
Gotcha.
And sometimes too, because some people are like, oh, well, I pay for this and I do that. And even still, sometimes it's just not the same. Yeah. I think you just have to know credit's very variable. It's, it's all read in such a different way that it's not going to always look how you might think. So. Okay,
cool. And what's one piece of advice that you would give to people when they're trying to, get their stuff together so they can be mortgage ready? And then how can people get a hold of you?
I think to not be scared. Okay. Because just being transparent and why I also think I have like joy in what I do, I too was a little scared. Okay. I'm like, did my past things, like, are they going to define my future? And I think just allowing someone to review your report and like, even if it's not what you want to hear or if it's maybe, oh man, it's going to take that long or it's a getting started point, right? Yeah. Because clearly there's a reason why you kind of want to know, or there's something kind of holding you back. I think just knowing that there's availability there, so that way it doesn't make it that scary. And even for me, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, yes. But once you really say like, okay, and or you're like, okay, I can do this, and you can call, you can negotiate, you can settle, you can, and you have a team. So you got someone really like in your corner, but you can get a hold of me by go ahead, you're good. You can get a hold of me anyway. I have my personal number, obviously through you. I would love to anybody, that.
Do you have a social media page?
Just my Facebook, Khalese Seidu.
So we'll add our Facebook link to you guys as well, and set it up so that if you guys want to take advantage of this home buyers club, you guys can participate in it. And I want to also say too that a common misconception that people have when it comes to new builds in general is that they can't afford it. Yes. But what people don't know, and you can probably say it a little bit better than me, is that the rate on the existing market and the rate that new builds get are two different things.
So a lot of the time too, and we utilize the credit to help speak to that, is the builder is going to buy down that rate.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of helps with the thought of people saying, I'm waiting for rates to come down. And it's like, you need to look. A lot of the time, I feel like too, they're going off a monthly payment. So,
yes.
Now you're putting things with a lower rate that's going to help the monthly payment, help with affordability. And then because we do have the great rates, yes, they're tied to credit, but again, at least maybe you're not at that 640 to get the lowest FHA rate, but we can see what that looks like.
Yep, exactly. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Today. I really appreciate you having you on today. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can definitely reach out to me or reach out to Khalese herself, and she'd definitely be more than glad to help you.